Cybertron here today, and I have an excellent match for you guys. This match took place in the 8th round at Philadelphia Regionals a few weekends ago against Daniel Lippman, also known as TalkingLion. We were both 6-1 at the point, and the winner would advance onto the top 8, so there was a lot of pressure on both sides. Daniel was one of the two people who actually beat me in the Swiss rounds of Nationals last year, so I knew I was in for a challenge. Anyway, to start off the battle, I saw that Daniel's team was very weak to my Hitmontop and Cresselia, so I chose to lead with those two. He leads off with his own Hitmontop and Cybertron, which is great since my Cresselia both walls and destroys them. My Intimidate activates before his does, so this tells me that my Hitmontop is faster than his, which is really important. As Daniel has played a very similar version of my team before, I thought that he would assume my Cresselia had choice specs, while it actually has an expert belt. He had also seen HP fire on my Cresselia before, so I knew he wouldn't want to keep his Cybertron in. For the first turn, I decided to fake out his Hitmontop since mine is faster and use Icy Wind, since Cresselia and Hitmontop can KO anything on his team provided they're faster. I predict him pretty well as he switches his Cybertron into Salamence. My fake out activates first, which is great. I have a huge advantage if Icy Wind hits here, but unfortunately, it misses the Salamence, which is pretty huge. It hits Hitmontop, but that's not really the one I was aiming to hit, so I'm a bit disappointed. At this point, I don't really try to make any predictions, and I just go for the safe close combat and Icy Wind. I know he'll probably want to switch Salamence out, which is what he does, but I decide to just play on the safe side. He actually really surprises me by going for a double switch into his Cybertron and Volcarona, but this is good for me because not only will I get an Icy Wind off, I also know all 4 of his Pokemon now. Of course, Icy Wind chooses to miss his Volcarona this time, which is really big because my Hitmontop carries Stone Edge specifically to KO it. Hitmontop does get the close combat with Fighting Gem off on Volcarona, but I know it won't do too much since Volcarona both resists it and Hitmontop has been intimidated twice at this point. Hitmontop gets the defense and special defense drop, and to add insult to injury, he also gets burned by Flame Body. This is actually really big because I now can't KO Volcarona with Stone Edge, seeing how I'm both burned and intimidated twice. But things not going my way, I'm a bit stuck on what to do. I decided that this turn I'll just go for a safe move and HP fire the Cybertron while Stone Edging the Volcarona to do as much damage as possible. He starts the turn off with a Heat Wave, and it does a ton of damage to both of my guys, but not enough to KO either. Cresselia gets the HP fire successfully on Cybertron, but with full HP, it won't be KOing. However, getting the damage on was really important. Hitmontop gets a Stone Edge off on Volcarona, but since with so many attack decreases, I know I won't be able to KO it. It leaves it with around 25% left, which is good because I can now KO it with a Psyshock or any other attack. His Cybertron gets a Leech Seed on my Cresselia, and heals back with both Leech Seed and Leftovers. However, he's still in the range for an HP Fire knockout, so I'm not feeling any pressure anytime soon. At the same time, I don't want him to be healing anymore, so I decide to switch out Cresselia and into Garchomp because I know Garchomp can resist the Heat Wave. And just go for a Stone Edge on Volcarona, even though I know Hitmontop will be dying this turn. To my surprise, he actually goes for a double protect with his guys, which is actually really good for me because I managed to switch in my Garchomp safely. Hitmontop dies due to burn, and at this point it's 4-3 in his favor, but I do have a Garchomp which can easily take care of Volcarona, and Cybertron is basically useless right now. Hitmontop goes down, and I know I'll be wanting to switch in Cresselia to take care of that Cybertron. So I switch in my Cresselia, and right now, I'm feeling pretty good about my position. He actually goes for, I believe, another double switch this turn, which is, a good play seeing how there could be a ton of moves that are coming, and he switches his Cybertron into Salamence this turn, expecting an HP Fire. He gets two Intimidates off, with both his Hitmontop and Salamence, so my Garchomp really won't be doing anything anytime soon. I didn't really go for any major predictions this turn, so I went for an Earthquake and an Icy Wind, seeing how Icy Wind would dent anything coming in if he decides to switch, and Earthquake should be able to do enough. Since he double switches though, Earthquake doesn't do anything to the Salamence and does just a bit to Hitmontop, but the Icy Wind is huge because it hits both Salamence and Hitmontop, and not only decreases their speed, but does a massive damage amount to Salamence. And so at this point, he did get 2 Intimidates off on my Garchomp, but I managed to get an Icy Wind off, which is huge because now I'm faster than both of his guys. His Salamence was actually Choice Scarf too, so this is really important for me. Now, for this turn, he makes a smart play and predicts me, as I just go for an Icy Wind and Dragon Claw because I really want the Salamence dead. I know Hitmontop won't be threatening my team anytime soon, and he reads right into that. He switches the Salamence into Ferrothorn and fakes out my Cresselia, so my Cresselia flinches while Garchomp does, a really bad amount to his Ferrothorn. Now, I'm kind of stuck on what to do. I don't want Garchomp in anymore because that's at -2, so I decide to take advantage of the fact that he is Hitmontop and Ferrothorn in and switch my Scissor in to try to get a few Sword Stances up. He goes for a Protect on Ferrothorn and a Sucker Punch with Hitmontop on Cresselia. Fortunately, excuse me, I decided to target his Hitmontop with Psyshock while Ferrothorn basically wastes the turn with Protect, so I successfully KO a Hitmontop. I also switch in my Scissor in, which is really nice because now I can try to set up some Sword Stances. At this point, excuse me, I do believe he switches in his Volcarona. Yep, he does. And I'm kind of worried because Volcarona can do a lot of damage to both Cresselia and Scissor, but not too worried. With the Steel Gem, I think Bullet Punch can knock out that Volcarona, so I just go for a Bullet Punch on Volcarona and an HP Fire on Ferrothorn. Of course, he makes another nice prediction as he switches his Ferrothorn into Salamence this time around, and this is actually really important because now he is, both an Intimidate off on my Scissor, which means I can't KO the Volcarona with Bullet Punch the following turn, and the fact like his guys both outspeed my guys, so I'm kind of stuck on what to do the following turn because his Volcarona is a huge threat to both Cresselia and Scissor right now. I decided that my safest move would just be to switch Cresselia into Garchomp, since Garchomp Volcarona doesn't actually really threaten Garchomp. I go for a risky move. I Bullet Punch the Salamence, and I assume that the Bullet Punch will kill, even with an Intimidate. Fortunately, with Steel Gem, it does enough to knock out the Salamence, so I'm feeling pretty good about my position right now. He actually surprises me by going for a Bug Buzz instead of Heat Wave, which, is fine because my Garchomp can easily live that, but he gets a crit, which really, really, really stinks. Garchomp could easily take care of Volcarona and Ferrothorn, but now I'm left with a 51 HP Cresselia and full HP Scissor against a Volcarona and Ferrothorn. I'm pretty much ready to accept defeat at this point, but I still see one last out. I go for a Protect on Cresselia, which is a move most Cresselias don't carry, and a Bug Bite with Scissor. Seeing how I didn't Protect with my Scissor the last turn, I was hoping that, he would predict that I would Protect with Scissor and not risk a Heat Wave miss, so he would Bug Buzz Cresselia. And as you see here, that's exactly what he does. So Cresselia and Scissor are safe as Scissor gets a free knockout on Volcarona. And at this point, it's my Cresselia with HP Fire and my Sword Stance Scissor with full HP against his Ferrothorn. I'm feeling pretty comfortable in my position. There's really no way I can lose now, unless, some crazy hacks, but really no way to lose. I go for a HP Fire here, expecting it to knock out, and just a Sword Stance with Scissor. The Ferrothorn barely hangs on with 1 HP, I believe. So I set up a Sword Stance here, and he goes for a Power Whip on my Cresselia, I think. But, at this point, there's really still no out for him. He does get a crit on this Power Whip, which is kind of amusing, but still not really worrisome. If he pulled off something insane like 10 Protects in a row, he had maybe a slim shot of winning it. But, at this point, it's a Scissor with like 10 HP left against a Sword Stance plus 2 Scissor. There's really, nothing much left for him. So, the turn where I managed to KO his Volcarona was really big because, if he Heat Waved there, it would have been game over straight from. But fortunately, I got the KO there, and I successfully KO his Ferrothorn with a Bug Bite here, so it was a really, really tough match. Daniel was a super good player, and his team was super hard to play around. It was a good game. Both teams played hard. In the end, I finished second in Philadelphia Regionals in the Masters Division. I made top cut seeded 4th, and I beat 2 very good trainers in top 8 and top 4 before losing to Bears Fan in the finals. You can watch our series on YouTube very soon. If you want to read more about the team, check out NuggetBridge.com as I wrote a team analysis about it just a few days ago. Thanks again for watching.